The streets of Mumbai bustled with life. Cars honked, vendors shouted, and the scent of street food filled the air. Amidst this chaos sat Raghav, a man whose life had been confined to a tattered blanket on the sidewalk outside a busy railway station. He had been a beggar for over a decade, surviving on the kindness of strangers. His story, however, was about to change in a way that no one could have imagined. Raghav had once been a bright young man with dreams, but fate had been unkind. A business he tried to start had failed, and a betrayal had left him penniless. Yet, even in his darkest moments, he observed the world around him with curiosity. Unlike other beggars who accepted their fate, Raghav had a keen eye for patterns. He noticed which passers-by were more likely to give money, what time of the day yielded the most charity, and which street vendors made the most sales. One day, while watching a tea vendor named Ram, an idea struck him. Ram, a simple man, sold cups of chai from a small cart near the railway station. His business never seemed to slow down. The same commuters who ignored Raghav would gladly hand over 10 rupees for a cup of hot tea. Instead of spending the little money he collected on food, Raghav started saving. He went hungry for days, tucking away every rupee in a small tin can. People around him laughed. A beggar saving money? For what? A new blanket? But Raghav had a plan. After weeks of scrimping, he had saved 300 rupees. It wasn't much, but it was enough for his first investment. Instead of begging that day, he approached Ram, the tea vendor. "Hi, can I buy some tea from you in bulk?" he asked. Ram raised an eyebrow. "Why would a beggar want to buy tea?" Raghav smiled. "I have an idea. Trust me." Ram, intrigued by his confidence, agreed. With the tea he bought, Raghav walked a few streets away to an area where office workers gathered in the morning. Instead of waiting for kindness, he did something no one expected. He offered free samples. "Fresh chai! Free to taste!" he called. People were hesitant but curious. A few took a sip, and within minutes, the aroma of his perfectly spiced tea worked its magic. "How much for a full cup?" someone asked. "Just 10 rupees, Raghav replied. By the end of the morning, he had sold out. He returned to Ram, reinvested his earnings, and repeated the process the next day. What had begun as a desperate gamble was now a business in motion. Raghav expanded quickly. He hired a few other beggars, giving them roles as runners and delivery boys. Instead of begging, they now had jobs. With a fraction of his earnings, he rented a small cart, painted it brightly, and named it Raghav's Chai. The once dismissed beggar was now an entrepreneur, but success didn't come without its challenges. Other vendors in the area saw him as competition. Some tried to push him out. One even sabotaged his cart, spilling an entire day's worth of tea onto the road. Raghav, however, refused to be discouraged. "If they see me as a threat, I must be doing something right," he told his team. He started offering a new incentive. Every 10th cup of tea was free. Customers kept coming back, drawn by both the quality of the tea and the loyalty program. One day, a well-dressed man named Mr. Mehta stopped by for a cup of tea. He was impressed by the efficiency of Raghav's small operation and the professionalism with which he ran his stall. "You have something special here," Mr. Mehta said. "Have you ever thought about expanding?" Raghav hesitated. "I want to, sir, but I don't have the funds." Mr. Mehta handed him a business card. "Meet me at my office tomorrow." That night, Raghav barely slept. The next day, he found himself in the luxurious office of Mehta Enterprises. Mr. Mehta, a seasoned investor, offered him a partnership. With an initial investment, they would scale Raghav's Chai into a citywide chain. It was a gamble, but Raghav had taken risks before. This one, however, would change his life forever. With funding, Raghav opened multiple stalls across Mumbai. His brand became synonymous with quality and affordability. He hired more people, giving preference to the homeless and underprivileged. His journey, from a beggar to a business owner, inspired many. A few years later, he opened his first proper tea cafe. The media caught wind of his incredible journey, and he was featured in newspapers and television interviews. People loved the idea of a man who had once begged for coins, now signing business deals worth millions. One evening, as he sipped tea at his flagship cafe, a young beggar approached him. "Sir, can you spare some change?" the boy asked. Raghav smiled and handed him a 10-rupee note. Then he asked, "What will you do with this money?" The boy shrugged. "Buy food." Raghav leaned in. "What if I told you that you could turn this 10 rupees into something bigger?" The boy looked at him, confused but curious. And just like that, a new journey began. Because Raghav knew, better than anyone, that smart decisions, no matter how small, had the power to change destinies. If this story inspired you, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more incredible life-changing tales.